Hello, and thank you for clicking on this video of the Cortex figure review. First of all, I should probably apologise for not making a video in over a year, but many things have happened, so I didn't have a lot of time, but forget about that because let's talk about the figure. So you can see him in his box here. I should probably say the box is open, but don't worry, I did commit this infernal sacrilege many years ago, so he's been open for quite a while now. So the interesting thing about the Series 1 figures is that they have these the different boxes. So this is the original box that came out. You can see Crash on his rocket, and then Cortex Castle is right behind him there, and obviously that huge moon. And then there's the bubble is pretty much the same on all the figures except for this decal on the front. So this is like a cardboard sticker of Dr. Neo Cortex's name. The problem with these is that they would just peel off or they'd rip. So in Series 2 they ended up putting those inside the box. So if you want to see some of those Series 2 boxes, go and look at my other reviews of Series 2 characters. So this is the stickers. They're always at the bottom of the box, the sticker sheet for the boxes and the crates. This one's obviously been used up already. As you know, I do animations with Crash Bandicoot figures, so I did buy these figures to use to animate, so I did use a lot of these stickers. Cortex does come with this tie that's holding him in. I've taken mine out because I can't be bothered to tie him up. So obviously there is a warning hazard, so these aren't suitable for anyone under 3 years old. To be honest, I'd say these weren't suitable for anybody under 12 years old because they are so very fragile. And the problem with these figures is that they were marketed as toys when they were anything but toys. They're definitely collector's items, they're definitely fragile, and they're definitely not for playing with. On the background you've got pretty much the same thing as the Series 2 box with all the different characters that you can buy. This one's a little bit more in depth, so I actually prefer this. It gives a little bit of detail, a little bio for all of the characters there. So you've got Komodo Mo, Tiny, Cortex, Coco, Jetpack Crash, and Jetboard Crash. And then you have the description here. So let's get him out of the box. I think he's suffocated enough. So I always open my boxes. If you are going to open these, I always put mine on a hinge. The worst thing that can happen is that the whole plastic front is going to come away and you're going to be left without a box, just a piece of card. So I always put mine on a hinge so I don't open this side of the box, just around here in a C shape. So that this part slides out nice and easily, and you can keep your box for later for display. You can put a little bit of tape on it or re-glue it, I don't know, whatever you want to do. So, here's Cortex and all of his accessories, and I'm going to get them out one by one and show them to you. So let's start with the evil Dr. Neo Cortex himself. As you can see, he's got quite a detailed face sculpt. Now you have to remember, back in the 90s, Crash Bandicoot was obviously not as HD as it is now in the Insane remake, so ReSaurus didn't really have a lot to go off on how Cortex's face looked, so they kind of fill in the blanks. And they do a really good job at adding detail and bringing these characters to life without making them too creepy or horrible to look at. So here's Cortex. He's got wrinkles on his head. His N is a metallic blue kind of colour. In the camera it looks black, but under specific lighting it kind of looks a little bit more blue. His eyes are really beautiful. I really love his eyes. They're so big, they're so shiny, because they're completely sculpted out. And then he has the dark burgundy eye bags underneath. His nose does have a little bit of a chip. This chip has always been there. I think it's from when he was in his packet. In fact, even the Skylanders Cortex figure that I got, his nose also scratched. I think it was either his nose or his lip was scratching against the packet. I think it's just his profile is just, it sticks out so much. So like I said on the other reviews, the finishing on these figures aren't great. The sculpt is amazing, but Cortex is one of those characters where you can really tell that the finishing isn't great. So most of the finishing is meant to look like this, nice and smooth. Even that's not that great, but the further you come down you can see his face looks like a jigsaw puzzle. So it's kind of a shame because the sculpt is so wonderful. The hair, they've got like, rather than making it really fine, fluffy hair, they've gone for these really big clumps, and it looks amazing, it really does. Most figures or plush toys often just have these parts of Cortex's hair and leave the back blank, but these guys did the whole thing, and they did the hair that goes all the way around. Another problem with the Cortex figure is that I think the glue they used gives a slight green tint. You'll see some figures are slightly more green than others. I don't think the glue agreed with the yellow paint that they used. So this part on the back, Cortex has some writing on his back, and that is just the copyright information of the figure. I can't remember seeing this on any other figure except Cortex, and he has it right on his back. I have no idea why. They could have fit that on his foot. You see, it doesn't take up that much space. I guess if you really wanted to, you could just sand this down, but I'm not interested in changing how the figure looks. I've been quite fortunate in the paintwork on my Cortex figure here, because as you can see, all of the white remains in the teeth, and the beard is really nicely painted. I've seen some figures where this is slightly over or out, so I'm really pleased about that. See, the lip isn't infected with any white paint or anything like that. The beard, you can see they've sculpted these lines in to make it look like hair. Not much to say about his body really, it's just sort of a little square box. He's got this big black collar on him, and he's got the shoulder pads. Unlike Engine, they actually did Cortex's shoulder pads properly. They go all the way around and land on the back here. Engine, for some reason, they just gave him a big collar. But there's not really a lot to say, there's not a lot of detail here, it's just very smooth. I'm trying to figure out what this is. I'm not sure if it's glue or if it's quality control paint that's just a slightly different shade. The Cortex's body in this section, just this section, not this part, is slightly yellow. This has always been the case, it's not like I've left him in the sun and he's turned yellow. In fact, it would do the opposite, I think. It'd bleach him, but for some reason just this one segment here is yellow, and you can kind of see brush strokes. I mean, there's no way you're going to be able to see this on camera, but it kind of looks like brush strokes. So Cortex it's kind of like a pivot joint with a hinge, so he has this kind of range, so it can go in and out, and it can go kind of go around depending on where the arm is actually positioned, because Cortex's own head and his shoulder pads kind of hinder his arms. So at the end of his arms he has these 360 jointed gloves. There's no up or down, they just swivel. There's not a lot you can do with his hands really. One is in a fist and one is in a pistol grip. The plastic feels kind of brittle. I'm not sure if it's the plastic that feels brittle or if it's the paint that feels brittle. Bearing in mind that this hand is meant to hold the gun does horrible damage to it. It just pulls off the paint completely. I just don't think the paint is sticking to the glove very well, and that's what makes it feel brittle. Feels like it's going to come away in your hands. So I'm usually really careful, and I don't often, if ever, put the gun in Cortex's hand. I think I've done it for one animation. I think I did it in Brainwashed, and that was the only time I did it. The other hand is just a fist, so there's not a lot of stuff you can do with this figure. It's just a fist there, it can't hold anything else. His feet swivel like this, but there's no articulation in them. I guess they can't because he would just fall over. And he's got his trademark big feet, and these are like a nice shiny plastic. And at the bottom of those feet he has 2 peg marks for his hoverboard. So that's what the figure looks like when he's standing on his own. He's kind of hunched over, he's got this massive head and tiny body, so you don't really see a lot of his body anyway. So here's his hoverboard. It's really nice, they've put these details in, they've put rivets in. It's got a fin on the back that has Cortex's logo. It's got a really lovely sculpted little jet engine on the back. Got these lovely pipes, beautiful metallic paint, lovely details, rivets, and then of course the 2 big signature front lights that Cortex has. And these 2 pegs for his feet. So as you can see, really lovely and detailed. A really lovely piece and a nice addition to the figure. But can you see what's wrong with it? Yeah, why is it blue? Cortex has a red hoverboard. It's even on the packet. It's red. But it's blue. No, I don't quite understand it either. And obviously it's missing this front piece, whatever that is, I'm not quite sure. Okay, it's blue. Let's just accept that for now. But he looks awesome. He looks really good on it, you know. And I mean, he would have looked just as great if it was red. But oh well. So Cortex also comes with his gun in matching colour, which, you guessed it, should also have been red. And this gun is slightly different to the gun that he has in game. It's got this scope on top, which he doesn't have. If I remember correctly, it's just red, kind of a round gun. It has this piece at the front, but it's yellow, and it doesn't have these. I think this is based on one of those Space Age toy blasters that you used to get. It's a really nice gun though. It looks a bit nicer than his one in the game, and it's got the lightning bolt on it. But well, actually, hold on. There's the picture of the whole gun here. You can see the difference between the guns. The lightning bolt on the actual gun goes all the way down, as you can see. But you know, maybe that gun would have looked too boring, so they kind of vamped it up. I don't know why it isn't red. I don't know why it couldn't have been red. But I'm not going to put it in his hand because it doesn't actually... It fits really badly. If you could just pop it in, that would be fine, but you have to put it sideways and then twist it, and it just ruins all the paint in his hand. So it's a really cool accessory, but he can't really hold it very well. And once you've got it in, it's really difficult to get back out. So, next accessory is the Nitro Crate the Cortex comes with. It obviously comes with a bunch more stickers, so there's also TNT on here. And this, just like the brown crate, opens up. Okay, this thing's been closed for years, so I can't actually open it, but trust me, it does fold out like the other crates. Cortex also comes with the black crystal. Now, like I said in the other videos, these crystals obviously aren't canon to the game. They're just nice collectibles for you to pick up, just something else to collect. So they do them in all kinds of different colours. It would be boring if everyone came with the same coloured crystal. And Cortex, although they have no bearing on his character whatsoever, comes with Wumpa Fruit. I guess so that you can have more than one Wumpa Fruit for your Crash figure when you get him. And that is made of the same bouncy rubber material. I really love this figure. I think he's great. I think he's awesome. He's a wonderful shelf item. He looks great on display. He's not a toy. He will break. I find it very hard to come across any Cortex figures that aren't broken or scuffed. But if you can get a boxed version, you can usually get all of the accessories and have him looking nice and sharp. He's just such an interesting character, and if you're going to get a Crash figure, then you may as well get a Cortex figure as well, because, I mean, what is one without the other? There we go. Thanks for watching this review. Hopefully I'm going to get through all the other figures, so please go back to the menu and select another figure review to watch.